A very good evening to you all. Welcome to English News Bulletin here in Rwanda Television. We'll begin with the headlines. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Kagame, arrived in Samoa for the 27th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, Shogun. Rwandan health authorities have pledged to continue with efforts to ensure locals get access to more mosquito nets as a measure to reduce the number of people who succumb to malaria. My name is Olive Nathan. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. Let's take a closer look at the news. The President of the Republic of Rwanda, His Excellency Paul Kagame, arrived in Samoa for the 27th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, Shogun. On the sidelines of this meeting, the two countries signed bilateral cooperation agreements. Adam Squizera kicks us off tonight.
Earlier today, President Paul Kagame held talks with Prime Minister Afyoga Naomi Matafa of Samoa, whereas the discussions focused on the ways to further strengthen bilateral relations between Rwanda and Samoa. Later on, Rwanda and Samoa officially established diplomatic relations on the sidelines of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, whereas Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe signed the joint communique with Prime Minister Afyoga Naomi Matafa, marking a new chapter in bilateral cooperation. President Kagame is in Apia, the capital city of Samoa, for the 27th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, Shogun, which came after the 26th that held in Kigali, Rwanda in June 2022. Whereas by this time, Rwanda will hand over its two-year chairmanship to Samoa, and a new Secretary General of the Commonwealth from the Africa region will also be elected, replacing Patricia Scotland, who was on the Secretariat from April 2016. In Samoa, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe also participated in the 66th session of the Commonwealth Ministerial Action Group. Samoa's economy is predominantly based on agriculture, a sector that employs more than two-thirds of the population. As an island nation, Samoa also attracts tourists from around the globe, attracted by its natural sceneries. These statistics demonstrate that over 180,000 tourists visit Samoa every year, generating more than $500 million revenues. Adam Squizera, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Adams, for the details. Now to health matters. 61 people among more than 500 who contracted malaria from the beginning of this year died, and authorities have pledged to continue with efforts to ensure locals get access to more mosquito nets as a measure to reduce the number of people who succumb to this disease. William Evans with more.
Shimimana Fabrice has come to Gahanga Hospital in Chichuchiro district for treatment after testing positive for malaria. Initially, I was feeling weak, but not that severe. Then, after a few hours, I could not stand, so I decided to leave work and quickly rushed here. Upon arrival, I was supported in a wheelchair because I barely could stand and I had a bad fever too. But I'm hopeful the medication they will give me will make me much better. Habumuremyi Jean-Baptiste, the head of Gahanga Health Center, revealed that malaria patient numbers are slowly increasing lately compared to the recent past. We have so far received about 5 malaria positive patients, yet in the recent past there would be 2 cases or just 1, but this number keeps increasing by the day. In the last month alone, we had a total of between 100 and 120 malaria positive patients. Now, all people who come with high temperatures are being tested for malaria so that they are helped as quickly as possible. From January to mid-September, a total of 518,000 people fell ill with malaria throughout the country, 61 of whom died from the same. This number increased because this time last year, only about 370,000 people suffered from malaria. The numbers of severe malaria cases are skyrocketing. We have so far had about 1,900 patients in the past 9 months. Some people even reach severe levels of losing blood. This is because red blood cells have been destroyed. Some have also suffered cerebral malaria, yet others have effects extended to their respiratory or kidneys, hence causing death if not treated early enough. So we are ensuring that our health workers are well equipped in terms of tools and enough in numbers so they can offer early treatment to stop the spread and severity of malaria.
Warwaye malaria agatangira imiti ntago yanduza abandi kuko nyine nta dukoko tuba tukiri mu maraso ye.
In the last 7 years, malaria has decreased by almost 90%, and the government's plan is to eradicate malaria completely by 2030. In this regard, more than 6 million mosquito nets will be given out next year. William Evans, Mtabazi, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Evans, for the detailed report. Now to environmental matters. Rwanda's Green City Kigali initiative secured $28 million grant from the Green Climate Fund. The project aims to upgrade informal settlements with innovative and sustainable climate-resilient solutions. Prince Manzi with more.
In Kigali City, nearly 77.3% of the population resides in unplanned settlements, making the city highly vulnerable to climate-related risks such as floods and landslides. The Green City Kigali project, implemented by the Rwanda Green Fund, addresses these challenges by focusing on upgrading informal settlements with innovative, sustainable and climate-resilient solutions. William Mugabo, the SPIU coordinator at the Rwanda Ministry of Environment, affirms the government's readiness to implement the Green City Kigali initiative in the second year of this project.
This project actually means a lot for urban development because it sets a clear path for developing our urbans, and it will be one of the pilot projects to actually inform secondary cities development, and it will be more of a green, climate resilient, and more importantly, it will be touching on the inclusivity where the people that are living in informal settlements are going to be really catered for and not relocated to serve the the betterment of the city inclusivity. We actually really prepared in terms of implementing it. After this board approval, now we are going to start the preliminary work of procurement and updating some of the design work, detailed design, and some of the instruments related to safeguards. This is something that we expect to be done in the next couple of months, around 6 to 7 months, and then we are expecting some of the implementation on the ground in the second year of this project.
The project will be implemented over the next 5 years, positioning Kigali City as a model sustainable, climate-resilient urban development for the region. Marcus Meyer, the Green Climate Fund urban sector specialist, applauds the initiative as a template to plan sustainable urban development for a changing climate.
Yeah, I think this is an excellent project that has been developed by our partners, because for the first time it really shifts the paradigm of upgrading informal settlements, providing the risk-reducing infrastructure and services for the community to grow and be safe from climate change. And as we have heard today from other board members, there's a great interest in providing this blueprint to other cities in Africa, which is urbanizing fast, as we know, and where problems of informal settlements are plentiful, and therefore I think this is a model to follow. It has, of course, has to be adapted to the local context, but this is a model to follow for many cities in Africa.
This project is part of a broader 600-hectare urban transformation plan and includes green infrastructure investments, capacity building and skill development, and scale-up replication.
Now to more news. Rwandans living in South Sudan emphasized that their partnership with the Rwandan peacekeepers serving under the United Nations mission in South Sudan these activities contribute to the well-being of the people of Sudan, and that affects them positively. Enera Gladys with more.
William Gawanziza is the head of the Rwandan diaspora living in South Sudan, who has been there for 11 years. He emphasizes that Rwandans are known to be well-disciplined, together with the reputation of the soldiers on the peacekeeping mission. He also says that the contribution of the Rwandan troops extends to humanitarian efforts that uplift local communities.
Rwandans who live here are never found in crimes or any prohibited activities. Even if there is such a case, they call us to solve those issues. So on our side, we always tell fellow Rwandans coming here to keep on building a good reputation for Rwanda. We do not want any Rwandan to be caught in cases and destroy our reputation, and also the actions of our country's army that are well known in this country, which is our pride.
Where are you from? I'm proud to say that I'm Rwanda.
Scovian Zamkosha is an entrepreneur who has been in South Sudan for 7 years and operates her business activities there. She specifies that it is very valuable being called a Rwandese in this country because of the actions of the Rwanda Defense Force in this country.
Being called
a Rwandan is not only a pride because we are only from Rwanda, but also because they respect us because we are from Rwanda. It's even a valuable thing here. Some time back, I came from work late and passed by the airport, and it was not even allowed. But they allowed me to pass because I am from Rwanda. The discipline of Rwandans in South Sudan is the key priority that builds their reputation in South Sudan. Additionally, the way the Rwandan troops help them, which builds a good image of Rwanda.
We said that we are proud of being Rwandans, but also having discipline. When you don't have discipline in this country, it is hard to live here. For our army, it is more than having discipline, since it's among their values, which builds a good reputation for us Rwandans living here. Because everywhere they go and everyone they talk to, they always compliment them that they do a great job in this country.
They really have a good reputation here. Even us, since we have a good relationship with them, they respect us because of this, and we are really proud of this because they help us, giving us advice. They build a reputation for us in general. The Rwandan peacekeepers serving under the United Nations mission in South Sudan help Sudanese by giving them security, providing medical services, and also assist them in other activities that support them in developing the well-being of people in that country. Enora Gladys, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Enora, for the details. Now to economic matters. A 3-day annual meeting of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Rwanda has begun in Rusizi district of the Western Province. The meeting is also being attended by people from other economic sectors with the aim of discussing how to collaborate in their respective fields to achieve sustainable development for the country while preventing losses caused by poor public resource management. The meeting bringing together professionals from various economic sectors such as certified public accountants, agriculture experts, construction specialists, bankers and others. Some of the key topics being discussed include how accounting can be aligned with the operations of other economic sectors, focusing on building sustainability, starting with the citizens.
Actually, the accountancy is what is called, this morning from the president. What he's talking about here, he said the charcoal terrorists, because you have to deal every business in the accountancy. But sometimes, the accountancy is very difficult. The lower people, the lower business, the small scale businesses, how they understand the accountancy and how it's going to understand it for accountancy. But accountancy, the ones the company or the someone is doing the business, it's making the accountancy right. It is the economic, the country will be contributed and as well as also his business. Actually, the meeting we have been expecting the more. Usually when I come in here, I was expecting the more as my perception, and now what I get it here as today, there was my expectation already is by 100%. They are attending so many CEO companies, international companies. They are accountancy bodies. They are professional people. There are so many people, and there was challenging each other to the experience and what they are, the accountancy, and how they are working the audit process and how it's working the accountancy system. All those things we have been learned today, and also the community, they are participating for the meeting. Also, they was on track what they are doing.
On the issue of building a sustainable economy, ICPAR has urged its members not to focus solely on financial accounting, but also to participate in other development activities. The president of ICPAR has emphasized the need for accountants to continuously update their skills to keep up with the times, noting that if done effectively, it can contribute to the country's economy starting from the grassroots. This 13th annual meeting of ICPAR is being attended by over 250 participants from various countries, including Rwanda, Burundi, Uganda, Kenya, and Somalia. Currently, Rwanda has 1,126 certified public accountants, and ICPAR is also preparing a 2025 conference that will bring together experts, accountants, and decision makers from across Africa. Now to more news. On October 23, 2024, the Council of Commissioners at the National Public Service Commission presented its annual report for the 2023-2024 budget and outlined its activities for the 2024-2025 to both chambers of the Parliament. A key point highlighted in the report was the significant progress made in reducing government losses from labor lawsuits. The Council of Commissioners at the National Public Service Commission also provided an explanation of how the system functions, emphasizing its role in managing labor disputes and improving the government's efficiency in handling such cases. To other matters, through the project Kura Umenye, SOS Children's Villages in Rwanda has set up a reading competition to support vulnerable children in schools to improve their knowledge and skills. Sandra Saula with more.
When they lived, they were happy.
Learning problems are wide and diverse. Some students are lower in achievement compared to others due to various reasons. That is the reason why SOS sets the competition to help those students to achieve their studies. Hirwa Obed and Ishimwe Ariet are the students who attend this competition. They explain how this competition helped them through studies. Before starting to work with SOS project, I couldn't get the best score in class. I always used to be in 50s, but now I can score the best marks in class because now I get 19% in class.
Cyangwa kabiri. Bamaze kumfasha mbere yuko njya muri SOS.
What SOS helps us is that before I worked with them, I couldn't get best marks in class. But after starting to work with them, now I can get a good marks in class. This project not only helps students, but also helps their parents, as Innocent, Rukimbira, and Clementina Bagiringa mentioned that this project supported their children to increase their learning skills.
Ukuvuga ngo bo umushinga wa SOS inzamura bumenyi.
This SOS project, Kurawiki, is very important to us because our children weren't performing well in class. But after meeting with SOS and training them, they were able to get better score. Also, this project is now in schools and it increased the knowledge of our children.
Uzamura ubumenyi ku bana bacu.
SOS yadufashije yuko abana bacu
SOS helped our children. Before, our children's performance wasn't good enough, but now their performance is way better than before. Sise Uwamahoro, the accountant in SOS, she explains the reason for this project and how it is going to help academic sectors.
Okay, currently we are having the reading competition going on that are organized by SOS. Children were selected from the districts that we work with as an organization. Those are the children that are in the program that is called remedial learning, that helps children at least to scale up their performance. So we started from the school level. We went to the schools, they did competitions. We went to the district level, to the sector level, district level. Now we are at the national level.
SOS is now cooperating with 8 sectors from different provinces, and they now have 24 students who have attended the competition. Saula Sandra Tumukunde, RTV News.
Thank you, Saul. Now to more news. The Rwanda Utilities Regulatory Authority is calling on individuals and companies to hand over old electronic devices such as telephones, computers, and televisions to designated agencies, citing health concerns associated with keeping these outdated gadgets. This initiative is part of a larger effort to manage electronic waste responsibly, particularly as some technicians have expressed concerns over the potential harm from the growing number of unused electronic devices. At the forefront of this initiative is EnviroServe, a company specializing in recycling old electronics, and EnviroServe stresses the dangers posed by keeping old electronics in close proximity to where people live and work, as they can release harmful substances over time. Gahungu Charles, the General Manager of ICT Regulation at RURA, is urging citizens and businesses to ensure that these devices are handed over to the appropriate agencies to prevent health risks and promote environmental sustainability.
Basically what we do, we have a law governing the ICT, and it has some articles related to the e-waste. From the law, we have developed a regulation which governs now how in details the management of e-waste should be done. From the regulation, it gives classification of the licenses. There are some licenses which are given to those companies that are capable to do the full recycling of the e-waste. There are others which just do the transport and refurbishment, as well as the license that just gives for transportation. So in summary, we still have a big challenge in the country to make sure that all the e-waste are collected and treated as it should be. That is the reason I really want to emphasize and to give the message not only to all citizens, but all institutions, companies, private as well as public, to make sure that they don't expose the e-waste materials they have in their offices. Instead, liaise with those companies which have been licensed, or even contact RURA for guidance to make sure that the exposed e-waste you have in your premises as well as in your offices are well collected and recycled or refurbished in a proper manner. For citizens, I really also encourage not to just throw out whatever e-waste devices they have, such as old phones. So since you have an old phone, you can at least keep it in a proper way until you reach the appropriate place where you can expose it. So far, we have 24 collection points in the country, which are being expanded. At the same time, we are having a project that will facilitate, which we call the extended producer responsibility, where it will encourage everyone to bring back an old devices, electronic devices.
In addition to the existing law governing the management of all technology equipment, the Rwanda Utilities Regulatory Authority has implemented specific regulations and issued guidelines for companies involved in the collection and disposal of electronic waste. These regulations cover not only the collection and disposal of old electronic devices, but also the procedures for issuing permits to companies that repair damaged devices. EnviroServe, a key player in Rwanda's e-waste management efforts, collects around 1,000 tons of outdated technological devices annually. Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast. On behalf of the Technical News Production team, we sincerely wish you a continued productive week. Until next time, goodbye.